I'm Marilee Caruso. It's Monday, July 28th. Today, new developments in the case of a rash of vehicle thefts using a tow truck. Also today, filling the gap.
Housing is one of the most urgent challenges facing our city.
The 5 new Winnipeg housing projects which will create hundreds of affordable homes. Plus, on a wing and a prayer.
It means it can be hotter or drier in their habitats so they don't have the food and plants they need to survive.
What you can do to help Manitoba's threatened monarch butterfly population. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. New insight today into a rash of vehicle thefts in Winnipeg using tow trucks. It's a story we showed you first here on CTV News. Surveillance video showed just how quick and easy the auto thieves worked. Tow trucks would pull up to the cars parked legally on residential streets, like this Dodge Caravan parked in Transcona. The truck would back up to the car, slide, the wheel lift underneath, lift it up, and then drive away, all in less than 30 seconds, leaving car owners wondering what happened and without a vehicle. Now, standing by with the latest on this case is CTV's Taylor Brock. Taylor, what new are we learning about this all?
Well, Marilee, the focus of the investigation is now on an auto recycling company located right here in Winnipeg. It's facing allegations of stealing at least 9 vehicles, then selling them as scrap metal. As you just saw the surveillance video of that Dodge Caravan getting stolen, this is how the van ended up. A flattened piece of junk, but this junk is valuable when sold to metal recyclers. Court documents allege a company called Winnipeg Auto Recycling was paid more than $40,000 for flattened stolen cars like this one. We spoke to the owner of this red Caravan, a mother of young children, about how she feels to see her family's van crushed.
It's really hitting me now how important the van really was, and especially to my kids. We ended up being able to see the vehicle and held kind of a little funeral for it. And it was just really hard seeing my kids so devastated because the van was their buddy that got us around.
Winnipeg police earlier announced they had arrested 2 people in connection with the thefts.
Taylor, we sadly know that Tia Sawa is not going to get her caravan back, but where else is this investigation leading?
Well, documents filed on July 22nd say an interim order was granted to seize multiple bank accounts and real estate of the owner of Winnipeg Auto Recycling. And as the order says, they are related to unlawful activity and proceeds of crime. Also seized were 2 tow trucks, a Dodge Ram, and a trailer. CTV's Harrison Chin has been following this story since we first brought it to light earlier this month. He'll have a full update on CTV News at 6 o'clock.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks, Taylor. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada is investigating a deadly small plane crash east of Winnipeg. It happened Saturday morning near Dugald. The National Safety Agency says the crash involved a privately registered Quad City Challenger 2 ultralight aircraft. RCMP say a man's body was recovered at the scene and there were no other occupants of the aircraft. TSB has sent a team of investigators to the scene to determine what led to the crash. This is the second fatal plane crash in Manitoba this month. 2 student pilots were killed when their planes collided mid-air near Steinbach. The TSB is also investigating that crash. Fire crews are still working to contain wildfires near some northern Manitoba communities. An update from the city of Thompson Sunday says Manitoba wildfire service teams are working on the north flank of fire NO061, which is the closest burning to Thompson. Helicopters are providing water bucket support. Crews will work on the southern flank when work on the north side wraps up. According to the update, 2 new fires started in the north Saturday, but crews are confident they can contain them. The town of Leaf Rapids says a roving fire engine continues to extinguish hotspots in that community. Fuel is again available for vehicles and generators as the co-op Cardlock is operating again. Further reports from Leaf Rapids say the fire moved easterly again with the winds and crossed the highway at the north end of the airport. 5 dozers continue to create dozer lines. The province is warning of a handful of potential measles exposures, this time in Winnipeg. They all happened July 21st, which was last Monday. The Child and Family Services office on Jarvis Avenue was one of the spots between 10:45 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. La Grota Mediterranean Market on Taylor Avenue from 11:30 a.m. to 1:45 p.m. was another. West Coast Kids on Kenniston Boulevard from 11:55 a.m. to 2:25 p.m. and then HomeSense on Kenniston from 12:30 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. Anyone who was in those locations during those times is advised to make sure they're up to date on their measles vaccine and monitor for symptoms for about 3 weeks. Another delay in opening a Winnipeg bridge. The Louise Bridge is now going to be closed for a few more weeks so crews can complete all the repairs needed. The bridge connects Point Douglas and Elmwood. It was built in 1910 and requires a lot of maintenance. It closed in May for an inspection. Workers found corrosion, which required repairs. It was set to reopen at the end of this month, but now the city says it will remain closed until early September. The mayor says Winnipeg's aging infrastructure means inevitable repairs and traffic disruptions.
The challenge with aging infrastructure in the city of Winnipeg is that it needs the time for maintenance to be done to get that repair work completed. And whenever there's maintenance on our roadways and our bridges, our sidewalks, traffic inevitably is impacted. Our transit route network is impacted as well. So I thank drivers for their patience. I ask people to make sure that they check well in advance as far as the open and closure dates.
Drivers can use the nearby Disraeli Bridge for now. CTV's Jeff Keel was talking with residents and drivers today. Watch for his full story coming up on CTV News at 6. A branded man has been arrested and sent to Saskatchewan to face child pornography charges. Estevan police began investigating a complaint earlier this year, which ultimately led officers from Manitoba and Saskatchewan to search a home in Brandon. A 20-year-old man was arrested and remains in custody in Estevan. He's charged with creating child pornography, extortion, and uttering threats. Premier Walkanu called a by-election Friday, which will test whether his NDP government's popularity can spread to a long-time PC stronghold. Voters in the Spruce Woods constituency will go to the polls August 26th. The Tories normally secure well above 60% of the vote in the area, but the New Democrats have been riding high in opinion polls and have made a series of spending announcements in and around Spruce Woods recently. The outcome won't affect the NDP majority in the legislature, where the party has 34 of the 57 seats to the Tories' 20. The Canada Border Services Agency says a Winnipegger was arrested and charged last month following a significant drug seizure at the Calgary airport. CBSA officers found 30 kilograms of meth inside a bag destined for Japan. The bag's owner had already boarded the flight, so officers entered the plane to make the arrest. An 18-year-old is facing drug trafficking and exporting prohibited goods charges. A 31-year-old woman is charged in the stabbing death of a woman in northern Manitoba. Thompson RCMP were called to a home last Thursday in the early morning hours. When they arrived, emergency medical services were treating an unresponsive female with a stab wound. The 34-year-old was declared dead at the scene. A 31-year-old woman is now charged with manslaughter. Mounties continue to investigate. It's the next step towards building new, affordable housing units in Winnipeg. Today, the city announced the development of 5 properties on city-owned land. The housing projects are slated for Taché Avenue, Osborne Street, Pembina Highway, and 2 on Watt Street.
Housing is one of the most urgent challenges facing our city.
Taché Avenue will see the development of a 65-unit apartment building with on-site disability support services. The block will offer support for up to 20 people with physical disabilities. The organization leading the development says the project will help adults with disabilities who don't meet the criteria for provincial services.
We started to dream about building such a place. An intentional, accessible, affordable, and inclusive living environment where people with physical disabilities could create natural and meaningful connections that would alleviate loneliness and isolation and support their overall well-being.
The developments will create almost 700 new units. More than 270 will be affordable units. Construction will start within 1 year. All right, let's check in with Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. What are you tracking for us tonight, Colleen?
The smoke is back, Marilee. We had the rain that came through over the weekend and a substantial amount. I'll show you how much a little later. But now the smoke has returned, and I'm going to show you a little later on why the smoke has returned to southern Manitoba. But it's not just here in the south. First, that rain that came through those areas along the international border in Manitoba earlier today, those have now moved off into northwestern Ontario. Those are non-severe thunderstorms you saw there, by the way. But all these areas lighting up in purple, most of Manitoba, including Winnipeg, under that air quality warning issued by Environment Canada. They extend over the border into Ontario, as does a special air quality statement for places like Kenora. More on that coming up, and a look ahead for your forecast for the week soon. But first, let's take a look through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Smoky out there. You can see that on that camera. 24 degrees. It feels like 29 with the humidex. Light winds from the north-northeast. The pressure is dropping and the humidity is 67%. Out in traffic on this Monday afternoon, a live look out onto the Provencher Bridge. Traffic moving well there.
The Winnipeg restaurant that's made Open Table and Kayak's top 50 hotel restaurants list. That and more local news coming up after the break.
The news tip: when you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
Get Winnipeg's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Music, dance, art, storytelling, all in celebration and tribute to Indigenous culture filled Naweo Dana over the weekend.
Our ancestors, the ones that have come before us.
Treaty 1 Development Corporation hosted the two-day festival. The event featured traditional powwow, Anishinaabe idol, an Indigenous market, and children's activities. While the festival was open to everyone, this year the organization extended the invitation to wildfire evacuees.
And we invited them out and said, hey, we know some of the people there might have missed their treaty days in their community. Bring them out to this event and let them now have a weekend where they can have some fun and enjoy a weekend.
Mercer says Naweo Dana is the largest jointly held urban reserve in Canada. The land was formerly home to Capion Barracks. The site will continue to host events for various Indigenous organizations, including the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. A local eatery is among the most desirable restaurants located in a Canadian hotel.
It was a very surprise honor.
Fort Garry's Hotel's Oval Room Brasserie made Open Table and Kayak's top 50 hotel restaurants list. Diner Reviews noted the brasserie's ambience, dishes, and service for its high reviews. The Oval Room is the only Manitoba restaurant on the list, which also includes dining options in Ontario, BC, Quebec, and the Maritimes.
A restaurant business and a hotel business is about a team, and it just shows that our team is doing a really good job.
Hotel owner Ida Albo says most customers are local, something also noted by Open Table, which found 61% of hotel restaurant diners are local residents. And this isn't the only award the hotel's restaurant won this month. Vida received a Wine Spectator Award of Excellence, one of only 17 in Canada. A look ahead to more Manitoba summer festivals, including Canada's National Ukrainian Festival in Dauphin. Local entertainment news coming up in the Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Led Zepp again, the premier tribute.
Colleen Brady is back now for Spotlight, and the wait is over. A favorite Winnipeg Summer Festival has begun.
That's right, Marilee. Folklorama has turned Winnipeg into a giant multicultural party. Folklorama held its annual kickoff Saturday over the Lyric Theatre and Field in Assiniboine Park. It was the only chance for the audience to see the ambassadors from all 43 pavilions in one place. The evening featured ethno-cultural performances, a market, children's area, and food trucks. The festival's executive director described the unique value of the event to Winnipeg.
It's really like having 43 different festivals all over the city.
It's something that's really, really unique to Winnipeg. We're truly part of the fabric of the community.
The festival started out back in 1973 with just 21 pavilions. This year, it's featuring 43 pavilions all over Winnipeg. Folklorama runs from Sunday, August 3rd to Saturday, August 16th. Attendees are recommended to check the festival's travel guide on the website, folklorama.ca, for schedules and locations.
We saw you up on stage there. You were there for the kickoff. Did you learn any fancy footwork?
I always do. Yes, I always do. Lots of fun. It was very warm, so kudos to everyone who wore their cultural attire because, yeah, they were feeling it. But they put on a fabulous show.
The good news, the weather doesn't impact this festival.
No.
It's all indoors.
Inside.
Food is great. Entertainment always worth the wait.
That's right. No smoke there.
All right, now to another fun festival, which entertained families over the weekend.
That's right. It was all fun and games over at the Forks. Game Fest Winnipeg was at the CN Stage and Field at the Forks throughout the weekend. Giant inflatables, pop-up markets, food trucks, and family games were all part of the fun. Organizers say the goal was to bring back the joy of play and support local businesses.
It means the world to us because not only we're helping, bring back the joy of play, but we're also helping to support local businesses. These are micro businesses and local small businesses that are basically given the opportunity to be able to set up here at the beautiful historic The Forks.
The heavy rain did come by and briefly stop the event, but it continued after the rain passed. The event made its return for the first time since 2019. Organizers say they are planning a winter version of Game Fest Winnipeg, and more information will be available soon.
Not even the heavy rain could take the smile off that little guy's face.
No.
All right, Dolphins' Ukrainian community is also getting ready for a big party.
Is it ever? Canada's National Ukrainian Festival will showcase its culture, traditions, and food.
It started in 1965, right? 60 years ago, and it's growing strong.
The Ukrainian festival returns once more to the Silo Ukraina for 3 days of dancing, culture, pierogies, and borscht, of course. The event features 5 grandstand shows, a cultural village, agricultural demonstrations, a talent competition, and music. The special guests this year are Canada's National Riding and Dancing Cossacks. Over the years, the event has grown from 150 to 7,000 visitors from all over the world.
It's not just Winnipeg and beyond. We actually have patrons joining us from Australia this year. We're very excited to have them, but it just brings the whole community together.
Organizers say hotels are sold out, but there's still some camping spots available. You can find a complete schedule and tickets at cnuf.ca.
All right. Thanks for this, Colleen.
You're welcome. Your primetime lineup kicks off at 7 with American Ninja Warrior, followed by Match Game, and E-Talk wraps up the night at 10:30, all right here on CTV. A live look at the St. James Bridge. We're featuring the bridges today. Busy in both directions, but moving well. Smoky in the city right now. I will have more on that air quality warning coming right up.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Well, a ridge of high pressure building over Saskatchewan has helped to redirect the smoke that is coming into southern Manitoba further south. Now, if you are in areas south of Winnipeg, closer to the international border, the smoke should be making its way into your communities anytime now. Earlier, speaking of areas along the international border, you had non-severe thunderstorms that moved through your region throughout the course of the day. They have now moved off well into northwestern Ontario. But we did have an awful lot of rain finally in parts of the province yesterday anyway. So Winnipeg, for example, had 39.2 millimeters of rainfall, little less at the airport, just over 21 millimeters, but Barons River had a lot. Melita, Carman, and Morden also had a nice soaking as well. We need to see more of that. As for the air quality alerts, though, first comes the rain, then the return of that smoke, again aided by that ridge next door in Saskatchewan, sending smoke further into southern Manitoba, but not just the south. Central regions, parts of the north, and into northwestern Ontario under that outright air quality warning. So Environment Canada basically saying at this point, when you have smoke as bad as it can be at times with the current situation. No matter what your age or your physical situation, smoke is just going to be really bad for you. I know that goes without saying, but they're really stressing that point today with the current warning. Further south, Kenora under a special air quality statement, so not quite as elevated as an outright warning, but still an air quality alert nonetheless. So we have that rain that crossed through earlier today. We have a little remnants of it popping up here as we head into tonight, but not much. If you do see any rain in the south tonight, it will be quite minimal. Pretty dry tonight across the north, but it will be very smoky. It will be smoky really across Manitoba and into northwestern Ontario as well. The smoke pretty much doesn't move. It'll be another smoky day across the province, including in Winnipeg throughout the day ahead tomorrow, but it will be a dry day. Have a little bit of rain popping up just on the other side of the international border. And then into Wednesday we go, where we will see more sunshine. It will get warmer again as well as we get a little further on into the week. For tonight, we drop down to 14 degrees, widespread smoke, winds out of the northwest at 20 at their strongest. They'll be lighter overnight. Light winds tomorrow. They're not going to move that smoke around. Mix of sun and cloud, more smoke, a high of 24 degrees. And then a quick look at the long range forecast. 24 and sunny Wednesday, up to 27 in the sunshine Thursday, 28 by Friday under a mix of sun and cloud, and then a mix of sun and cloud Saturday and Sunday, with the hot temperature there being 28 on Saturday, 26 on Sunday. Now look at this great cloud that formed over Navan, Manitoba. That's not too far from Winnipeg out to the east. That photo is from Peg. And this next one's really cute. You have to look very closely. Look in that tree, Marilee. There's a cute little squirrel that's been taking up residence in that tree on Amy's property there up in Toulon. Send us your weather photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
So cute. All right. Saturday's sky was so clear it gave butterflies in the Living Prairie Museum, literally. Check this out. The museum held its annual Monarch Butterfly Festival over the weekend. It was the 17th time for this event. Live butterfly displays, guided walks, and crafts were all part of the activities featured. Monarch butterflies are facing survival threats due to climate change. This event aims to raise awareness as well as call for public action.
Extreme weather, it means it can be hotter or drier in their habitats, so they don't have the food and plants they need to survive. The biggest one is helping to create habitat. So you live in the city, you can plant milkweed and other wildflowers. That's the #1 thing people can help with.
Curator Mariel Olinik says tracking the monarch butterfly population is quite difficult because it's so widespread. She adds planting a variety of native plants helps not just monarch butterflies, but also other flying friends like bees.
They're important too.
So there you go. All right, don't go far. We'll be back at 6 o'clock with much more local news. See you then.